You don't think to question why these systems are the way they are.
You're saying let's look at this broad swath of people.
We're talking about tens of millions of people,
and we can't. And you have no solutions, brother.
Wait, hold on. What's your solution?
Address solutions if you're not willing to acknowledge the problem.
Mr. Tatum? What's your solution?
0% of you are subscribed. Fix that.
There are a lot of questions about what's on the horizon for American society. Vaush is a libertarian socialist, anti-fascist, and live streamer. Vaush, welcome to Slightly Offensive.
Happy to be here. Sorry about the glitchy camera. It's the mysteries evade the best tech people in my audience. Just pretend that I'm speaking to you from the future.
Brandon, can you explain your political views?
I was a former Democrat. I was raised that if you're black, you're a Democrat. I would support the police, but I don't believe that black people matter.
I'm certainly in favor of Black Lives Matter. The fact remains that there are many problems with our policing system, evident and objective problems.
Jack? Hunter?
Yeah, I actually don't think this necessarily has to be a either or thing. I think that Black Lives Matter aims to address systemic issues, systemic racism, and systemic issues with our police force.
Well, I think it's kind of funny because I think I have a different perspective than two of the other panelists, and I'm the only black person on here and the only former police officer. So I think that's interesting. If you look at the numbers, white people get killed more than black people do by police. White people get shot more unarmed than black people do by police. You know, we hear about George Floyd, but we never hear about Tony Tempa. Policing is probably the least racist organization probably in our system.
Vaush, what are your thoughts?
Well, unlike Mr. Tatum, I don't think that a person's race determines which beliefs they can or cannot hold. When it comes to policing, we're not talking about the individual bias of police officers here, though that does play a factor. There are racist people. What we're talking about is a system, an institution, which begets unbiased results. We have the largest prison population of any country on Earth, both proportionally and in absolute numbers. We're certainly doing something spectacular here. And when you look at the numbers, whether you're talking at the policing level, at the judicial level with regards to sentencing, or the actual incarceration, there are certain groups of people in this country who are disproportionately targeted. So it's really up to, do you want to address the problems we have in our society, or do you feel a desire to defend groups that you already like? And for me, I would rather push for freedom. I would rather push for opportunity.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit interesting that Brandon's opening statement was on how all his life he was told because he was black he had to be a Democrat. He made it pretty abundantly clear in the intro that he's against identity politics, but yet his first argument is invoking identity politics and suggesting that because me and Vaush are white people,
and I'm the only black person on here,
we somehow don't have a good understanding of the police system. Brandon, the fact that you're a former police officer honestly terrifies me in the greatest respect. The fact that you would say this institution is the least racist institution is just laughable. Like, those are such bold claims that are just triumphed by so many different data points.
When you commit more crimes, you get patrolled more. And when you patrol more, you go to jail more.
I'm
those things are
in you right now.
Again, Brandon, you're sort of attacking a straw man. Nobody's saying police are just seeing black people and arresting them for no reason. The ultimate argument that this runs down, of course, is why do black people seem to commit more crimes? What conditions beget these situations?
Culture.
And if you run it down far enough, at the end of the day, it comes down to a fundamental income disparity between black and white people that's existed since... Well, sure, but what does culture come from?
Do you think that culture created an income divide?
Are you saying an income divide because people are choosing not to go into certain
in the United States, the household income or the household wealth of a white family is approximately 40 times that of the average black family. So do you think that's a product of black people's choices, or do you think that historical conditions may have led to a difference in the average wealth that might then lead to other socioeconomic issues, like the availability of quality schooling?
I think majority of what's happening today is people's decision making. I grew up in an all black neighborhood. I know what people think. And by and large, black people do not value education like other races. When I was in school, it's culture. When I was in school,
why is the culture
like that?
So again, this isn't about, we're not talking about individual choice not mattering. At the end of the day, we're all made up of individual choices. What we're saying is that when we're talking about communities of tens of millions of people, patterns emerge that are consequences of given environmental conditions. If you take a look at marginalized communities anywhere around the world, you will find that for the most part, I mean overwhelmingly so, they have worse educational attainment. They have worse income attainment. And the reason for that is because no matter how hardworking any individual is, as a group, you are less likely to succeed if your family has less money, if your race has less money. The reason why black culture is the way it is because black people have had a very different set of circumstances in America than white people. And a lot of that, the only way to fix it is to address those underlying problems. We can't just wave our hands of these huge issues that affect so many people and say, oh, well, if they just made better decisions, they would fix it. No, that's never, in any point in history, fixed a huge systemic discrimination problem.
Well,
the only thing that does
that's not even how we
policy.
make, just if I could add really, that's not how we make policy. Well, if I
one
could
last,
just
one last thing really quick. The black fatherhood myth is just that, a myth. It's true that there aren't as many married fathers who live with their kids, but unmarried fathers actually live with their children about as much as white people do.
These are, numbers that people can always fluff the numbers and make them match what they want.
Oh God, we're already getting anti-intellectualism.
I'm just saying, when I was growing up as a police officer, every juvenile that I arrested didn't have a father in their home. So
do you think there might be a selection bias there? Because you're arresting these kids. Black fathers are more likely than their white and Hispanic counterparts to feed, eat with, bathe, diaper, dress, play with, and read to their children on a daily basis. So I think you might be falling to selection bias there.
You're making a lot of appeals to your own anecdotes, which I understand that you can form your own opinions based on your own experiences. But when we're talking about overall political issues here, you can't really form those opinions on your own personal experience.
You can't survey every single person, 40 million black people in this country.
Wait, Brandon, are you seriously suggesting that your anecdotes are more worthwhile than CDC data?
Jack, you said you had something from Pew. Pew.
And so if you look at the history, just myself in general, and you can interview anybody else that you want to.
No, this is just a waste of time. I'm sorry, Brandon. Brandon, hold on. Wait, can we actually make arguments and not tell stories about our own lives? I'm making an argument
because you need to be able to.
This isn't an argument. This is your own story. This is your own personal life.
If
you're
a
a parent.
Listen,
can I tell my story next? I'm sure most of you are familiar with the policy redlining, which wasn't even done away with until the 1970s, that essentially allowed banks to just discriminate against black neighborhoods, completely gypped black people from pursuing the American dream and accumulating wealth. We also have the war on drugs, which was another policy that was disproportionately negatively affecting black people.
I think people are giving too much weight to racist policy and redlining. We need to stop trying to find these excuses and look at it on an individual level, and that's how you fix things. You say, why are young brothers
really quickly? Okay, I think this is an extremely anti-intellectual way of looking at systemic problems.
No, you're only looking at it one way. You have no real examples. You're looking at stats and you're trying to build arguments.
Statistics tell us about real examples.
No, but they don't. But you don't know anybody that sells drugs.
Wait, hold on. Examples.
Let me get Vaush. Let's give Vaush a chance here.
Clear about this. Examples are, to be perfectly clear, meaningless when we're talking about large systemic issues. They are utterly worthless. Depending on you and your personal experiences, you can pull out any lesson in the world from your personal experiences. The only black guy I've ever met who sold drugs did so because his family was broke as shit and he wanted to go to a good college. But you say your experiences are different. Well, since we're only relying on experiential evidence here, anecdotal evidence, we don't really have anything. The only thing we can really look at here that gives us a solution is data. And the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of evidence which points to the idea that the problems the black community experiences is downstream of systemic discrimination. There's a reason why
nobody. You could use your statistical data or whatnot. I grew up. I'm just telling you, this is important too. I grew up black my whole life, and I've been around black people. Nobody's talking about the stuff that you're talking about.
You're invoking identity politics again, and also that's irrelevant.
You go interview.
I really like what Vaush had to say there.
They're not going to talk to you about redlining. They're not going to talk to you about racism.
So what?
They're going to talk to you about opportunity.
Really quick. Again, that's because individuals don't tend to look at things in a systemic manner, which is why you don't go to the street and ask individuals what kind of policies they would want to fix their neighborhoods. That's a policy thing. It takes a lot of time and work.
So you're saying that everybody's the same. What I'm telling you.
No, wait, Brandon, please, wait, hold on. I need to make a point here. Okay. Looking beyond individual anecdotes is not the same as saying everybody is the same. I feel like in a way you're allergic to systemic analysis here. So the arguments here are pretty simple. Your solution to these huge systemic gaps that have existed for, pretty much as long as black people have been in America, long ass time. These gaps, your solution to it is everyone needs to try harder, work harder. But I think your animosity to these issues was suggested by something that you said rather errantly just a couple minutes ago. I pointed out that millions of people have been locked up at some point or another for nonviolent drug crimes, and you said, but they're still drug crimes. I know they are. But why are nonviolent drug offenders getting sent to prison? You don't think to question why these systems are the way they are.
You're saying, let's look at this broad swath of people.
We're talking about tens of millions of people.
And we can't, and you have no solutions, brother.
Wait, hold on. What's your solution?
Address solutions if you're not willing to acknowledge the problem.
Mr. Tatum, what's your solution to the black-white income gap?
Black-white income gap. Like, so when I'm giving you my personal experience of when I grew up.
What's your solution? What policy? What would you?
Solution?
Listen, this is what I'm saying.
I have solution. I can answer this.
When I was growing up, if I had more positive role models, we don't see examples of other people doing things that are positive.
So representation, black representation in media.
No, what I'm saying is that it's not about the media. Yeah. It's not just about the media, because black actors play traditional black roles. They don't play roles. They don't fight for roles that put black people in a positive light.
Wait, yes.
Let me give you an example. The NFL has they produce.
So you just said you want more positive black male role models. That's fantastic. Completely agree with you. Media representation. That's a common left-leaning talking point. That if you allow minorities to have prominent positions in media, that you tell like these kids, like, hey, this isn't just a white man's game. This isn't just a man's game. You can be whoever you want to be. I completely agree with that. But your suggestion that nobody in the acting community is fighting for non-traditional black role models
what I'm saying is that most of the actors
incorrect.
Are playing these traditional roles of slaves and of drug dealers and all of those things. They still take these roles. If they turn them down, if they turn the roles down, then it won't be portrayed.
If they want to act, could that be a problem with Hollywood? Maybe only
making movies about black people that are have them as slaves and football players.
We could say that there's a problem with Hollywood only soliciting actors, and we could say there's a problem that black actors are taking these roles, perpetuating the myth of the way black people are represented.
So you don't. So you do believe in positive black representation in media, like you'd push for that actively.
If you earn it, yeah, I agree.
Okay, I completely agree without any strings attached. I think that's fantastic, and that's also a systemic solution because tens of millions of black kids are going to grow up seeing these people on TV. You know, like a positive black male role model. I don't know, Idris Elba as Bond, whatever comes up to the top of your head, and they're going to see that and think, wow, okay, we're not just represented by rap artists, football players, and slaves in Hollywood historical periods. We can be whatever we want to be. I completely agree with that. These are the kinds of solutions that I like looking towards because they're actionable.
Why do you think a man just ran up on a 7-year-old in Chicago and gunned down somebody in a car? They don't have male leadership. Nobody's teaching these boys to be men and not running around killing each other.
Why?
You can cry why all you want.
No, why? Wait, do you want to solve the problem or bitch about it? Why? Why is it happening?
People keep blaming white people and the police.
How do you fix it?
Part of the thing you're saying is go to school, get a job, and all of these things I agree with, but black people are still disproportionately facing.
Hold
on, wait, stop. Let
me explain you about a black person going to a black school.
Are you still a police officer? Because you seem really bad at handling crisis. I think you'd be probably shot me dead at this point.
I'm talking little boys right now, bro. You're not a crisis.
Yeah, says the guy that's been using a childish argument the entire time. That let's just start telling people not to do things that are bad, guys. Listen, if we want to address
your daddy should tell you. Did your daddy
address a systemic issue, if we want to address
you shouldn't break the law, did your daddy tell you shouldn't break the law?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what I'm telling you. This is what.
So how do we change that?
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is a virtue signal.
Hunter. Brandon, what is the solution? Let me hear.
We need to focus on individuality, right? Socialist policies are not gonna help anybody with anything.
What would you do? An actual action that could be taken.
What's a policy you would do? Even rioting, for example, is a result of civil unrest, which is a result of police killing black people, which is a result of the income gap, which is a result of racist policies of the past. It's not that complicated. I know it might be for you, Brandon, since you have
Martin Luther King didn't do this.
Way of thinking of things here.
Martin Luther King didn't do this.
If we first, do you really?